We live in a world that keeps screaming, be more, do more, become everything. But let me tell you something, clarity isn't about becoming everything. It's about knowing what you're not. Most of us are busy trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for us. We chase approval, titles, likes, and applause. And somewhere along the way, we lose our reflection. We become a version of what the world expects, not what our soul desires. But when you stop and ask yourself, who am I really? What do I stand for? That's when the fog begins to lift. Self-awareness isn't found in noise. It's found in stillness. You see, knowing who you are is power. But knowing who you're not, that's freedom. Because every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to what will grow you. Stop trying to wear every mask just to please the crowd. Stop pretending to be busy just to feel important. You're not here to live up to everyone's expectations. You're here to live up to your own purpose. So take a deep breath, step back from the rush, and ask yourself, what are the things I'm doing just to be seen? What am I chasing that isn't truly mine? When you let go of those false layers, what remains is your truth. And that truth, that's your direction. Matthew McConaughey once said, "The first step that leads to our identity in life is defining who we are by who we are not." And that, right there, is the essence of focus. When you stop scattering your energy on things that don't align with your values, you create space for the things that do. Remember, you don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be something real to yourself. That's where value begins. That's where purpose lives. And that's when life stops feeling like a race and starts feeling like yours. We spend so much of our lives chasing success, chasing love, chasing validation, chasing the next big thing that'll finally make us feel enough. But here's the truth. The more you chase, the further it runs. Because anything that's meant for you doesn't need to be hunted, it needs to be attracted. You attract not by running after, but by becoming. When you start valuing yourself, something shifts. You stop begging for opportunities, and you start preparing for them. You stop seeking people who complete you, and you start becoming whole on your own. That's the difference between desperation and destiny. Chasing comes from fear, the fear of missing out, of being left behind, of not being seen. Attraction comes from faith, the faith that what's meant for you will recognize you when you're ready. Let's get real. When you chase, you tell the universe, I don't have enough. When you attract, you declare, I am enough. Think about a magnet. It doesn't move. It simply pulls what aligns with its field. You are that magnet. When your thoughts, habits, and actions are aligned with your purpose, the right people, places, and moments find their way to you effortlessly. So, instead of chasing every door that looks shiny, build yourself into the kind of person that the right door opens for. Stop running after validation on screens and start building value in silence. Stop trying to be noticed. Start being worth noticing. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You're not saying, I'm better than others. You're saying, I'm becoming the version of me that no longer needs to beg for belonging. McConaughey once said, we attract what we give off. Don't chase butterflies. Mend your garden and let the butterflies come to you. That's gold right there. Work on your garden, your mindset, your energy, your discipline, your peace. When you start living in authenticity, everything meant for you will begin orbiting around you like planets around the sun. So stop running, start rising, stop proving your worth, embody it. Because the moment you truly believe in your value, you won't have to chase anything. Everything meant for you will find its way home to you. Most people think discipline is punishment. They think it's restriction, limitation, something that kills freedom. But discipline, real discipline, is self-respect in action. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're telling your soul, I matter. My goals matter. My word means something. And every time you break that promise, every time you hit snooze, skip the workout, delay the project, betray your own standards, you're sending the opposite message. You're saying, my comfort is more important than my calling. That's the quiet truth no one likes to talk about. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is filled with the small decisions you make every single day. It's not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about consistency, the daily, boring, uncomfortable acts of showing up when you don't feel like it. See, motivation is what gets you started. But discipline is what keeps you moving when the feeling fades. Because feelings come and go, but habits build character. Motivational said, we are the choices we make. And that's not just poetic, it's a mirror. When you choose to act even when it's hard, you're building trust with yourself. And that trust, that's power. It's the kind of quiet confidence that doesn't need applause. It doesn't scream. It simply is. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being faithful. Faithful to your growth, your purpose, your future self. It's about saying, I will not quit on the person I'm becoming. Think of it like this. Every day you keep your word, you add another brick to the foundation of your self-worth. Every day you choose discipline over distraction. You're telling the universe that you're serious, that you can be trusted with more. You don't build confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror. You build confidence by doing what you said you'd do over and over again until it becomes part of who you are. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It's the doorway to it. When you're disciplined, you're no longer controlled by moods, temptations, or laziness. You gain control over yourself. And that's the greatest freedom of all. So, the next time it gets hard, remember, every rep you push, every temptation you resist, every early morning you rise, it's not punishment. It's proof that you respect yourself enough to fight for the future you deserve. In a world that never stops talking, silence has become terrifying. We fill every quiet moment with noise, scrolling, texting, posting anything to avoid being alone with our own thoughts. But the truth is, the person who cannot sit with themselves will always feel lost, no matter who they're with. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's an invitation to meet yourself without the filters, without the noise, without the crowd. When you learn to be alone without feeling lonely, you take your power back. You stop depending on people for validation, and you start depending on purpose for direction. See, loneliness is a state of mind. Solitude is a state of mastery. Loneliness says, I'm missing something. Solitude says, I'm discovering something. And the difference between the two is how much you value your own company. Most breakthroughs, the real ones, don't happen at parties or in the spotlight. They happen in silence, when it's just you, your thoughts, and your truth. That's when you start realizing what actually matters, and who actually matters. Matthew McConaughey once said, sometimes you have to get away from people who know you to find out who you are. And that's real, because too often, the version of you that everyone knows isn't the version that's still growing. Sometimes you need distance, not because you hate people, but because you love your peace. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop settling for relationships that drain you. When you can sit in silence and feel full, you stop searching for people to fill your emptiness. You stop chasing attention because you realize that your value doesn't come from who's looking, it comes from who you are when no one's watching. So take that walk alone, go sit with your thoughts, write, reflect. It might feel uncomfortable at first, like you're missing something. But stay there long enough, and you'll realize you're not missing anything. You're just meeting yourself, and that version of you, the one that's honest, raw, unfiltered, that's the most powerful version you'll ever find. When you learn to be alone without feeling lonely, you stop fearing silence. You start hearing your intuition, your vision, your truth. That's when you stop running from yourself and start running toward yourself. So don't fear solitude. Embrace it, because in the quiet you'll find not emptiness but answers. Failure. It's the word most people run from. The word that makes us feel small, unworthy, and defeated. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Every great story, every hero, every champion you admire, they've all failed. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. The difference is, they didn't stop there. They didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. See, failure has a language. It speaks to you in lessons. It tells you what doesn't work, so you can discover what does. It humbles you, strengthens you, shapes you. It takes the rough edges of your character and smooths them with experience. But most people never listen. They quit too soon. They think one rejection means it's not meant for me. No, it means you're not ready yet. Because every failure is feedback. Every setback is shaping you for something you can't see yet. Matthew McConaughey said, "The roof is a man-made thing. We put limits on ourselves that don't exist." And he's right. Most of the limits we feel aren't real. They're fears disguised as facts. Failure doesn't say you can't. It says, try again, but smarter this time. Think about it. When you were a child learning to walk, you fell hundreds of times. But you didn't call it failure. You called it learning. And that's the mindset you need to carry into your life again. Because failure doesn't mean the end. It means you're in motion. You're trying. You're growing. It means you're in the arena, not watching from the stands. The only real failure is never starting or giving up when it hurts. So stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what might I become if I don't quit? You can't build resilience without resistance. You can't find strength without struggle. And you can't refine gold without fire. So when life knocks you down, don't curse it, study it. When something doesn't work, don't walk away bitter, walk away better. Because the person who learns from pain becomes unstoppable. Let your failures teach you. Let them toughen your spirit, sharpen your focus, and deepen your faith. Because in the end, success isn't about how many times you never fell, it's about how many times you stood back up. In a world obsessed with image, followers, and quick wins, integrity has become rare. Everyone wants to look successful. Few want to be truthful. But here's the thing, real value, real respect, real peace. They're not built on what you show. They're built on what you stand for. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's doing the right thing even when no one's watching. It's keeping your word even when it costs you something. It's standing tall when the easy path would make you small. See, reputation is what people think of you. But character, that's what you know about yourself. And at the end of the day, when the noise fades, and it's just you in the mirror, your peace will come from knowing you didn't cheat your principles just to gain applause. Matthew McConaughey once said, "The art of living is to find where your values and your actions meet." That's integrity. When what you say, what you believe, and what you do all align. The world will try to tempt you with shortcuts. It'll whisper, no one will notice. It'll offer fame without foundation, success without soul. But here's the truth. Every shortcut steals a piece of your self-respect. And without self-respect, no achievement will ever feel enough. Integrity is your invisible armor. It protects your peace. It builds your confidence. It earns trust slowly, silently, but permanently. People might not notice it right away, but over time they'll know you're solid, you're real, you're dependable, and that's value you can't fake. We live in a time where it's easy to look good and hard to be good, but the real ones, they don't need to announce it. Their actions speak quietly but powerfully, so choose to be one of them. Be honest when lying would be easier. Be kind when the world turns cold. Be disciplined when others are distracted, because those choices, those tiny, unseen decisions, they compound. They create a legacy, and remember this: success without integrity is just luck on a timer. But success with integrity, that's peace. That's fulfillment. That's a life that feels good, not just looks good. So, live in truth, walk in honesty, let your word mean something. Because when your actions match your values, you won't have to chase respect. The world will give it to you naturally. And that's what it truly means to value yourself.